God always has a plan. Trust him. Like, honestly, girl, the older that I get, the more I believe in God. It's like a scientific equation, bitch. Like, every day I'm like, and then I'm already like in the fucking stars over here. Okay, we can start whenever you're ready.
That's recording, this is recording, and that's recording. We are good to go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Every bee serves the hive, not itself. Every role, no matter how small, sustains the whole. Here, former and present journalists gather like bees, drawn to what's raw, real, and sweet. Each story is a drop of nectar, gathered from the wild fields of experience, spun into something golden. From the sting of truth to the sweetness of healing, this is where we build the hive. Bees don't question their purpose, they simply build. They gather light from the broken things, turn it to sweetness, and leave the world better than they found it. We do the same. One story, one truth, one drop of honey at a time. This is the Honey Pod, where words heal, hearts rebuild, and purpose buzzes loud. The Honey Pod is brought to you by Madrala Law Firm, your legal team for life's unexpected stings, and by TrueCore Wellness, helping you heal from the inside out. Together, they keep our hive strong. Hey, honeys. Thanks for joining us for the Honey Pod. I'm Paulina, and today we are joined with Shan Berries. Now, if you guys know Shan Berries, you have probably seen her makeup. My makeup girlies, we love your product. But Shan, you went from the news industry to what you're doing right now to almost back in news. You've got a wild story.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy because I didn't come from the beauty world at all. I came from radio and television, just like you. Worked at CBS together back in the day, and I've always loved makeup. It was always something that I was passionate about because I found myself going to these big box retailers and trying to find the latest and greatest stuff every week, and then going home and trying it on and being like, oh my gosh, this shit actually sucks. Like, what's up with this? And also working in radio, I did morning show radio for 12 years. And so waking up at 3:00 in the morning, 3:30 every day, sometimes, I didn't want to get ready, but it was always those days where I was like, you know what? I'm just so tired. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to like go in sweats and a hoodie. That they'd be like, okay, well, Pitbull's here. You're interviewing him. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why didn't anybody tell me this? And so I was like, so I always had to be ready. And my mom always instilled that. My mom was from Ecuador, and she would always tell us like, como te ven te tratan. How you look is how they're going to treat you.
Sure.
And so you always have to be arreglada, how she said, like, tienes que estar arreglada. So I just kind of learned to do my makeup really quickly and just look the part, even though sometimes I didn't want to, but I loved makeup. And so this was kind of when the big influencers were coming out with their collabs or like their YouTube channels or in Instagram and collaborating with these big brands. And I was like, you know what? Oh my gosh. Like, you're so silly. You have 1 million followers. Why wouldn't you just come out with your own brand? And that's when it kind of clicked for me, because I didn't have 1 million followers. I probably had like 5,000 followers at the time, but
That
I was
is
like,
big
hey,
enough, okay?
yeah, I was like, that's 5,000 potential customers.
Right.
And also my mom instilled in my sister and I, like, you always have to start something of your own. You're never going to make money working for somebody else. And I never knew what that was going to be because I really just knew how to talk to people and connect with people. I had this idea of like kind of all put together all these little things in my head. I was like, you know what? Why am I saying that this influencer could go start her own brand? I could start my own brand. Like, I know good makeup. I know bad makeup. Like, I know the good and the difference. And I'm not a makeup artist, but I know quality. And so I had this idea to start a makeup line, but like as a side hustle, like super side hustle. And I told my sister Erica, who was living abroad at the time. She had been gone for about 12 years. And I told her my idea, and she said, if you're for real, I'll quit my job this week because I'm getting burnt out. I'll come help you. I'll take a sabbatical. I'll help you. And I'll leave you to it after 6 months.
Wow.
Home, we also put our heads together and we said, well, how could we start this makeup brand, but also give back to the community in a positive way, because we don't think that many companies do enough of that. And so the answer was right in front of our face. It was our single mom who immigrated here from Ecuador, and we saw how hard she like struggled and had to work to provide for us. You know, we didn't have a dad, we didn't have family here, we didn't have support really, except for the friends that my mom had made here along the way. So we said, okay, well, why don't we find a charity that helps single parents in need? And back then, 7, 8 years ago, there were none. We couldn't find any charities to donate to that help single parents. And so we're like, well, let's start our own 501c3 nonprofit. Cause like you hear of nonprofits all the time, right?
How hard can it be?
How hard can it be? It was actually, I think it's been the hardest part of this whole thing
Really?
because it's another business in its own. You have to file with the government. It takes 17 months. You have to get lawyers and tons of paperwork, but we figured it out some way, somehow we did it. So, in honor of our mom, I go by Shan Berries and we named it Mama Berries. And on Mother's Day, we presented it to our mom. And so we're so honored to say that Shades by Shan, our makeup company, whenever you buy our makeup, a portion of proceeds goes to help single parents in need. Yeah, so that was it's like this.
In a nutshell.
Story, but I had to say kind of the whole thing, so you guys can get the gist of it.
In
Yeah.
a nutshell, I remember when you first started doing these videos for your makeup, and you were so transparent. That's what I loved about it, right? Because you were like, I'm not great at doing makeup, but I love makeup. And you were like, and you were so honest about that, right? You're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And so I know that like people would be the ones who like would leave you comments on like what you could do better and how you can do it. And
Yes.
now you're just like a professional girl.
Oh my gosh. You know, I think la cosa es empezar. You just have to start, you know, and just be honest. I didn't come on and say like, hey, I'm this like guru that knows everything about makeup. It's like, no, hey, I'm a girl who loves makeup and I'm starting this brand because I'm tired of buying and spending my hard-earned money on makeup that you think is quality just to go home and be disappointed. So I wanted to come out with something consistent, and we didn't come out with, you know, a whole gondola of products. We started with 2 products out of our mom's basement in San Francisco, out of her garage, and that sold out almost immediately. Like in 24 hours, our inventory that we thought that we had for 6 months sold out instantly. And we're like, well, wait, what's happening? Because you know, everything was just on Instagram. There was no like Google ads or Facebook, like that. We didn't know about that kind of stuff. Everything was just very organic through my Instagram, word of mouth. And every time that we would re-up our products, it would sell out. And we're like, okay, what's going on here? But it was, you know, people that were just wanting to support because they were a single
Right.
parent, or like dudes that just wanted to buy something that they're like, dude, I don't know what to buy, girl, but like, can you just tell me? Because I have a single mom and I want to buy her something. So people that not necessarily came from the beauty background either, or maybe like didn't even know about makeup, but they just were like, what is this brand? I'm a single mom. No one does anything for me. I just want to buy something and support. So I think really it stemmed from that. People just wanting to just support and show their appreciation for somebody that was, you know, raising awareness for them in a way.
I love that you brought back also that you started in your mom's garage, right? Because I think it's so telling of kind of where you were to where you are. I mean, now you're on Forbes. Now you've been all around the country. Okay. You are no longer in your mother's garage. You have now, I followed your journey. Like I always say, I was like, I want to be Shan when I grow up. And it's true because I've watched your career go from like, you would do these really fun videos at, you know, in San Francisco and CBS. And then you left the radio station. And I didn't know what, you know, all the ins and outs of that at all. And I still don't know that I know everything, but I just, I knew that I kept following you and you went from that to just this like really awesome makeup line. And that makeup brand has skyrocketed, right? From where you were in your mom's garage, like you said, to where
Oh,
you are right now.
it's insane. Honestly, I'm so grateful for you and other people that have followed our journey because I can't make this shit up. Like I really can't. At this point, I'm like, yo, God, what's up? Like, what's going on? I mean, it's
Yeah.
insane. Like, what can happen if you have a dream, you start your dream, and you're just persistent? Like, even though you make mistakes, you're still gonna troubleshoot, you're still gonna keep going, and you're gonna figure out a way to like seguir adelante, to keep going. So when you're determined, I just feel like nothing can stop you. If you have that heart and you're like, no, I want this so bad, I just feel like the world is your oyster. And so for us starting in our mom's garage, I remember us being like, embarrassed because, and
Yeah.
my sister also telling us, like, telling me, like, no digas eso, like, don't say that we're like packaging orders out of her garage. Okay. Like, don't say that we house the makeup there because like people are gonna like le van a dar asco. They're gonna get grossed out and they're not gonna buy. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. So we kind of had to like not like pretend like we were bigger than we are because we were always very humble and we're always gonna be scrappy. And I think that's what makes us who we are. But like seeing how we started and then just like nothing happened overnight, right? Like there's never an overnight success. Everything, I feel like an overnight success takes at least 7 years. And so we just like slowly just kept going and kept going and kept going, even though times were hard and COVID hit us really hard. And we're like, oh my gosh, people aren't spending money. People aren't buying makeup right now because they're home. And so that was, just navigating all these kinds of things. And I remember the day we got the call from Ipsy. We got an email and we were sitting in South City at a taqueria and La Virgencita de Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary,
The
was
Virgin
there, like
Mary.
right in. And my sister was like, you're never gonna believe who just emailed us. And we're like, who? And it was Ipsy, which is the biggest makeup
Right.
subscription box in the world. And they were asking us for like 1 million units. They're like, oh, would you be interested in bringing in like 1 million units? And we're like, yes, but like that's like $1 million. Like we don't have that kind of money. My sister and I started Shades by Shan with $1,500 each. And at that point, we didn't have that kind of money. And we told our mom, because our mom has been with us like every step of the way. And she's like, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to do to get you in these boxes? And she's like, do I need to refinance a house? Like, do I need to take out a loan? And we're like, mom, no. Like, so, we need to take care of you if anything. And so we had to actually decline Ipsy. And that was a really hard pill to swallow because you're like, like that would have been such an amazing opportunity. But I think when God or the universe has a plan for you, like he will make it a way for you to get to where you need to be. Because I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 months later, Ipsy emailed us back and was like, hey, you're still buzzing around our office and we would love to have a conversation because we think that we can find out a way to make it happen. And they found out a way to bring us into, now we've done over 10 million boxes
Wow.
with Ipsy and BoxyCharm. Now we're also in 610 JCPenney stores nationwide. We're one of their top 5 beauty brands. We just launched 40 Shades of Foundation and Concealer, the first Latina indie brand to ever launch foundation and concealer at a major retailer at the same time in history. I really do feel like if you have a dream and you're willing to work hard and it's meant for you and you put in the work, like the God universe will find a way to
Yeah.
help you make it happen.
Absolutely. I love, you keep saying this, or you said this, right? And I'm going to reiterate this, that you started at such humble beginnings because $1,500, it's not a lot. That's barely overhead for anything that you need, honestly, to start a business. And I know because I started my own business with pretty much the same amount. And so it's just like, if you keep working at it and you kind of go and ride out those highs and lows, it's worth it in the end, as it has been for you.
Totally, totally. Yeah. It's crazy to think, we started with $1,500. We put our money together, and to us, like at that time, that was a lot of money for us,
Oh, yeah.
because we were still living at our mom's house. Like I had left radio. I really didn't have a job. I mean,
I
like
say $1,500 as if it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money,
it
especially
is
for
a
us
little bit like,
working in the
yeah,
news industry.
at
Yeah.
that point, yeah, that to us, we're like, "Oh my gosh, are you sure this is a lot of money?" Like, "Oh my gosh," But looking back, that $1,500 got us to now, into 600 JCPenney stores and in like becoming a multi-million dollar business and having a team of people. And I'm pinching myself because like this is like it's insane the trajectory that we've had and everything. We've celebrated every win as if it was our last, because we're like, oh my, like this is crazy. Like Ipsy, we won the best indie award last year with Ipsy. They gave us a Times Square billboard, partnered with Pantone for Color of the Year, which a makeup line has never partnered or was able to partner for Color of the Year because they weren't able to be agile enough to meet their deadlines. So that was a pretty historical moment. And being featured in Vogue, in Elle magazine, in People magazine, it's just like, oh my god, it's insane. It's really insane. So like I said, I'm so grateful for people that have like been with us from the beginning, because they've seen it. They've seen how hard
Right.
we've worked, how much hustle, the tears and the laughs and the hard times, because I share all of that on my social media. I think it's important to share all of it, because I don't want to pretend like, oh, everything is easy and things come to me and it's all wonderful and flowers and butterflies. But no, really, nos rajamos. Like, we freaking are the hardest working team I know, the smartest Latina brand I know. And it's so beautiful to see that what we've been able to accomplish in just 7 years.
It's such a short amount of time, but I'm sure that like it feels like a long amount of time as well, because those ups and downs in entrepreneurship can feel like forever, especially like you said, COVID. There was so much uncertainty around that. So I'm sure that for you guys was like, what's going to happen? Are we going to have to scale back? Are we going to be able to continue? And so as like a small business owner who does not have 7 years under her belt, first of all, like you guys, there's so much inspiration to watch you guys, to know that this is where you can get to if you're consistent, you continue to work all those contacts, you continue to show up and do the thing.
Absolutely. I get out of bed and sometimes I'm like, I don't like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I'm so exhausted. Like, I'm a mom on top of that, right? Like, I have two babies. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I found out I was 5 months pregnant when we were just starting out Shades by Shan, and I wasn't ready to be a mom. And I did go through really deep postpartum depression, and I've also shared those struggles, and we came out with a collection that's called the Revival collection, because after I kind of snapped out of my postpartum depression after about a year, I was like, okay, this is my revival. Like, this bitch is back. Like, I'm back, baby. Like, we're good. We got this. And we came out with the Revival collection, and that has been our number one selling
Wow.
collection to date, because we told a story. The 9-pan eyeshadow palette says all these words of affirmation, like warrior, courage, um powerful, so that way you can leave it open on your vanity and you can look at those words every day and be like, no, I'm a powerful bitch. Like, I'm a freaking warrior. Like, I'm gonna get through whatever I'm getting through. I'm gonna do it. And so that's also, we're not scared to also share the good, the bad, and the ugly, because to us it's about, we're just normal people. We're
Yeah.
just, we're trying to feed our families. We have people on our team who are like family to us, and they have kids. And so for us, it's like, you know what? We're not going to pretend we're just like this glitzy, glammy company. We're going to show the grit and the scrappiness that it takes to get here and to play with the big guns in the beauty industry now.
Absolutely. And you do. And you do. You've earned that right. You've earned that spot. But Shan, before you even were there, right, let's talk about your news days, because I think for a lot of us who are in the industry, if we're looking to make a jump or we're kind of unsure of what the world has out there for us outside of the news world, outside of the radio world, that is such a niche world. It's hard to find yourself outside of it. So what was some of the struggles, I guess, that you faced in news that kind of were like, okay, this is not it for me, and then I have to go out on my own? And let's talk about that like in between phase before you started Shades by Shan.
So I love radio. That was my heart and soul. I feel like I am addicted to it. I'm back in it now. But I also worked at CBS and television. So at one point I had 5 television shows and doing the radio thing, which I loved. I loved being on camera. I loved being in front of a mic. But it was very scary, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my end all be all, because I don't know what else I'm good at. Like, I just know how to talk and maybe push a couple buttons, but what I don't like, I don't know. I still don't know how to use Excel. I still don't know how to use PowerPoint, girl. I barely could sign on today. Like, I was like, Paulina, help me. Like, I am 5 minutes late, girl. I had to re-download Chrome. This is giving me anxiety. I am not a techie person. I don't know how to do Google Meets, Google, like, that's just not who I am. And so for me, all I was like, "Oh my gosh, but if you get another job, like, that's what people have to do." And so I never really could see myself doing anything else. And when I started Shades by Shan, it was more of like a side hustle because my mom pushed us and instilled like, you're never gonna make money working for somebody else. And I never really knew what that meant because I was like, I'm good, like I'm making good money, I'm like okay, and I was comfortable, but it wasn't enough to like sustain a family. I was still living with my mom, and I didn't know what that was going to be. I started it anyways, just because I as a hobby. I guess and again, the universe or God like bring gives you what you need sometimes because I want to say like a year later, the radio world that I once so loved, it was a very toxic environment. I ended up leaving radio, not because I wanted to, but it was more because I was kind of pushed out. And I can't talk too much about it because I had to sign an NDA, and it's real funny when you have to sign NDAs when there's nothing to hide, right? So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I decided, I had just started Shades by Shan. I had left radio. That was my identity. Like I
Yeah.
went through an identity crisis. Okay. Like I was not happy with myself. I had lost myself. I am like, I have nothing to my name. And I feel like I'm a joke. Like I can't get a job in radio right now. Like I'm just so jaded. I don't even want to work there anymore. And so I said the only thing I have to my name is Shades by Shan. And I started this as a hobby, as a side hustle, and I'm going to put my heart, blood, sweat and tears into this shit because I'm going to blow this shit up because it has my name on it.
And that's it.
Honestly, the thing that pushed me was revenge. Like I wanted to fucking leave a name for myself for the people who fucking did me wrong. And it sucks to say sometimes, but like honestly, revenge is a kind of like the best kind of little fire to light up your ass and just push you ahead. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna make a name for myself, and these people are gonna remember my name, and I'm gonna freaking do this. I'm gonna blow this up because my life depends on it. And honestly, that was the fire that just
Started it all.
pushed me because I needed that. I think I really needed that. And I look back and I laugh. I laugh because I'm like, I can't believe that the universe puts you in these circumstances. And in that moment, you're like, but why, God? Why me? Like, why did this happen to me? You're so sad. You just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But now I'm like laughing because I'm like, we did that shit. Like
Yeah.
we did that. And now this is bigger than me. Like we've been able to help over 100 single parent families with financial assistance. We're doing college tuitions. We're doing small business loans because when it was time for us to find a loan, no one would loan Shades by Shan the money. We went to every single bank out there. They were like, we help small businesses and come to us. It's all bullshit. It is all bullshit. And so that we decided to start doing small business loans, and it's just something so beautiful that we've built when I really didn't think it was ever going to snowball into what it is today.
Again, I've watched your journey, right? So to see it from where it was to where you are, I agree with you that revenge is like the best medicine to just keep going because you're like, I'm going to make something of myself. But I think that I want to focus in a little bit on that transition between the radio world and then Shades by Shan, because I think like you and like a lot of us that you're going to hear on this podcast, we lose ourselves when we lose that identity of news, of radio, of whatever it was that was in that public eye, because it's not only a job, it becomes a personality for us. So I like it's hard. It's a hard like pill to swallow for that first year, and even longer than that for some of us. So talk to me about kind of what that was like, and then what that revenge, what that sweetness of that revenge when it came.
I left radio and I'm thinking, well, hey, maybe I could get a job somewhere at another station, at a competitor station. And I would hit up all my contacts and it was like, oh, nobody wants to have anything to do with you because, you probably, your name is tainted and she's problematic and she's a emotional drama queen, whatever it is. I don't know what they said, but like, also, I think it was just God's redirection for me. Like, no, you don't need that right now. Like, focus on this. Like, focus on this. That is in the past. And I needed to really, it took a long time for me to kind of feel okay with not, being behind the mic and being in front of the camera. And so I decided to make this my camera, this my microphone, and blow my own personal thing up, because if no one was going to give me a job or give me a chance again, then I'm going to do it myself. And
Yeah.
just like you started your podcast cuz you're like, I'm not going to just sit here and keep my arms crossed and wait for things to fall from trees. You know what I mean? So I think it's really just not staying comfortable and just keep going, even if it's the smallest little goal that you want to reach, keep going for that. As far as like the revenge part, it's funny to say, but like, honestly, that was the biggest fuel for me at that
Mhm.
time, because I just felt really let down and disappointed in the people that I love the most.
Right.
Working in media and working, somewhere for 12 years, you're like, oh my God, these are my best friends. This is my family. Like, I love these people, but literally they could freaking stab you in the back so freaking fast. And you're like, like,
Where did that come from?
where did this come from? And then you start to be like, was it me? Was it in my head? Like, is it? And it's just gaslighting, it's just like, no, I'm a good person. I have a good heart. I was not raised that way. It's not me. It's them. But it took me a really long time because I loved these people, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like a bad divorce and I wasn't ready to get a divorce. I love them, and and honestly, like, I look back and I'm like, I still love you. Like, I had so many good times
Yeah.
and I've learned so much, and I think about that, will I ever run into them again? What will happen? What will I say? And it's like, oh, you get angry, but at the same time it's like, oh, girl, for what? Like,
You're
it
on
ain't
to bigger
that
and better
annoying at this
things.
point. Like, okay, I'm like, why do I even care? So, but it took a long time. It took a
Sure.
long time to just be like, okay, just that dirt off your shoulder. But this industry is grimy. Okay.
Yeah.
It is grimy. It is messy. And you have to just have your next thing lined up. Okay. Because you never know, your most loved person at work, your work bestie, could freaking do you dirty, and like the next day you're left with nothing, okay? So,
Oh, do I know that one?
uh-huh. Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. But and like you said, it's this industry too, right? Like, it's the people, it's the way that it's set up, and I think very much like you, I didn't know that I knew that I wanted to start something on the side, and I didn't know what that actually looked like. I don't know that I'm still where I wanna be, but that transition from being out of news and being on your own, it like, there's just something there, right? Like, where it brings you into this, like, depression, it brings you into this, like, "Am I even on the right path?" We tried to do this episode, what was it, last year, right, for the other mental health podcast, and I had to take a step back because I'm like, I feel like a damn fraud. Like, I'm talking mental health, and my mental health is, like, literally
Oh
plummeting,
my gosh. Yeah,
And you're
totally.
just
But guess what? That makes you human. Like, no, we're not, nobody is perfect. We're
yeah,
all dealing with our own demons. We're all like, we all don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, and imposter syndrome. Like, I hate when people say imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome. Like, no, we all just don't know what the hell we're doing. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Like, even the biggest corporate executives, like, do you think they go into a room and they're like, okay, I know exactly how I'm gonna, like, no,
no.
they're like, okay, I'm gonna wing this, or like, hey, I might not know exactly, but like, let's see how it goes. It's just because people are willing to try and they're willing to fail and know that you're going to fail multiple times, but that's how you know and how you learn to grow. So yeah, I think it's something that we all deal with, and it's not just you, me as well. And I was so jaded. I was like, I'm never going back into radio. Like, oh fuck that shit. I'm never going back. I'm never going back. And then a year and a half ago, one of my old coworkers, and it's always the coworkers that you're like least expect,
Mhm.
right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't as close
Why
with you.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like we were cool, but like there's other people I was cooler with, but like you have my back. So always treat people with kindness, because kindness goes further than if you were a bitch and you knew everything. I say that
Absolutely.
all the time. Like, you are going to get more gigs in media if you are kind, if you are nice, if you are a joy to work with, than if you are a know-it-all perfectionist and you're a rude biatch. Okay, just be kind, be nice, and people are going to want to work with you and give you chances again. I think that's what kind of happened as well. My old coworker contacted me a year and a half ago and he goes, "Don't get mad at me, but I gave your contact information to our promotions director because afternoon drive person is leaving and they're looking for someone local to fill the spot." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Ryan, like, why would you do that? Like, I'm so busy. I'm so busy." And this radio station is in San Jose, which is about 45 minutes to an hour from where I live. I'm like, there's just no way I could drive there and back. And like, I have the kiddos, like, I can't do it. And he was like, just talk to him. Just talk to him. I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't want to close the door. If anything, maybe this could lead to something else. Who knows?
Sure.
So I had the conversation with the program director and he came back and said, look, like, we want to bring you back and make a splash on the airwaves again. Like, we've seen the magic you could do. We followed your journey. Like, we know what you could bring for the Bay Area. We will make an exception and we will let you record your radio show from your house. And you can record it in your bathroom. We don't care. We will set you up with an at-home studio to broadcast the entire Bay Area, and we will let you do it from your house. And I said, now we can talk. Now we're
Yeah.
talking. Let's figure this out. So that's the kind of things that I'm saying. Like, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. Like, it will happen. So don't push things. Like, let God or the universe, like, do just sit back and let them do the work sometimes. Because if you worry too much about things, there's no point, because at the end of the day, you're going to get what's right for you and what's meant for you. And so that was the really only way that I'm able to do radio again, is that I get to broadcast from my garage.
What a
But
full circle
I
moment for you.
it's such a full circle moment for me. And I love it. Like, it's honestly, like, it's therapeutic for me. I get to put on my headphones, and I, even if I'm having the worst day ever, I'll put on my headphones, I hear Justin Bieber and I do a Lipa and whoever. I'm like, yes, yes, like, mama's back. Like, we're good, we're good, we're good. So to me, it's just the right timing. You can't push things when it's just not your time either. And it happened when it needed to happen. It was actually the perfect time because my daughter was starting preschool, so now I was gonna have more time, and I had help. So it's just everything happens for a reason and when it needs to happen. So I'm really blessed in that way, and that they're super flexible. I could do my show when I'm traveling, because I also have to travel a lot for Shades by Shan now. And they're like, don't worry, you could take your laptop with you and you could record on the road and you could do that. It's like, oh my gosh, is this like just blessings pouring down right now? Because like, I can't make this shit up. I really can't. So I'm so happy where I am right now. The company that I work with is so phenomenal. And I realized, like, oh my gosh, I was working in such a toxic environment. Like, it's actually not like that it's not like that here where I work. And that to me was shocking, because I was like, am I gonna have to like deal with egos again? Am I gonna have to deal with assholes? Like, am I gonna have to deal, like, I came from very old school radio mentality,
Yeah.
like, you never could take a day off. And if you took a day off, oh, well, are you little Susie Q over here? She might be better than you. She might be taking your
Yeah.
job. Are you sure you want to call in sick? It's like that kind of stuff, that you feel guilty for even needing to call in sick. Are you kidding me? So it's just a breath of fresh air at this new company that I'm working at. And they are flexible. And yeah, I just feel like I had to go through that I had to let the time pass, and then when it was meant to happen, it happened again.
There's a couple of things that come to mind. One, it's the timing of things, right? We have an episode with Vanessa that came out, episode 3, and she talked about how she was making the move from news to incarceration. And she's like, Paulina, when I tell you the doors were closing faster than I could get home, I'm not even kidding. When I hear that, I hear your story right now too, right? Where you're just like, I was applying here and it wasn't the time. People were saying no. I don't know what was being said about me, but it was no, 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 no. And I think we all get in that moment, right? Like I've had that happen recently too, where I was like looking out of state, I was looking here, I was looking there, and every door kept closing. But when the door started opening, they started opening full force, right? And it's just like, holy crap, what
Mhm.
is going on here? And I still don't know how everything's lining up. I don't know how it's supposed to come out, in the end, but I'm
Mhm.
just trusting the process kind of thing.
Trust the process, trust God's timing.
Yeah.
He doesn't give you anything that you can't handle or that you don't need. I read something yesterday that it's like sometimes God or the universe like has to bring you so down, like so down to your breaking point where you're like, you kind of just have to like turn to God. Like at that point, you're like,
That's
I don't
it.
even know where to go now. Like, God, are you real? Are you here? Like, if you're
Yeah.
listening, because at this point, I don't have another choice. Like, I'm please, like, you turn, you like, you get down to the lowest point to bring you back up. So when
Hmm.
you bring yourself back up, you are so grateful for what you have because you went through all of
Yeah.
this shit, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that it happens sometimes multiple times in our lives. It's happened to me multiple
Right.
times. But it's just a matter of like just letting the time pass and letting know that there is a greater purpose, a greater plan for us all. But you just have to keep your head up and be strong and be positive and just be a good person. Good things will come.
And I think, when you hit that rock bottom, it really is all glory to God after that, right? Because, like, who else is going to get you out of there when you do start seeing those doors open and you do start seeing the shift of, like, frick, I went from like everything here, like my life was perfect or my life was kind of going well. And then I hit rock bottom. And like you said, like there's nowhere else to go. And when he pulls you out of that, it really is a God move, you know?
Right, right. And I think we were talking about this too, because like, I mean, a couple years ago, I'm like, yeah, I don't really know if God's real. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there is a bigger being. Maybe it's like, it is a universe or like there's something in outer space. I don't know. I don't know. I do believe in like there's a higher being. And right before we hopped on, I was like, girl, I'm getting older. And the older I get, the more I
The more
believe
I
because
believe.
like we've been through some shit, girl.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think, like you said, it's never just one thing, right? It's always like multiple things, and life will do that to you. And if you've read your Bible, like your Bible says that too. You're going to go through shit in life. You're not going to have this like linear, perfect little life. Absolutely not. On the contrary, it ebbs and it flows, and it gives you these tough moments, and that. Especially in those tough moments is when you should be, leaning on God. But I think also in your story, I hear the word leverage, right? Like, I don't know, Shan, that if you went back to news or if you went back to radio all those years prior, if you'd be where you are today. And maybe you would be, but I think maybe that road would be longer. And I don't know that you'd have, like I said, the leverage to kind of say, I can't come to the studio, an hour and a half away, but I can do it from home, And so
Yeah,
you have this, like,
totally.
they look at you differently now because of what you've been through and because of
Exactly.
the grit that you've earned.
Exactly. And I do think, when I started in radio, I started as an intern and I would do anything and everything. I'm like, you want me to scrub toilets? I will scrub toilets on my hands and knees. Like, I am inside the CBS building. And people are like, oh, no, you're going to have to move to Bakersfield. You're going to have to go to like Fresno if you really want to get like an on air shift. I'm like, baby, I'm at CBS San Francisco. I ain't leaving this building. Like, no, I am not. I'm not thinking that way. Like I'm already here. I'm going to make all my connections. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to freaking grind. So I don't have to move to Bakersfield. You know what I mean? So I already felt like I had a step ahead of a lot of people because I'm already in market 4. I don't care if I'm an intern, but pero de aquí no salgo. Like I was friends from the janitor up until the president of the company. Like I remember being on the 3rd floor. Radio was on the 3rd floor
Hmm.
and TV was on
All
the
the way
5th
upstairs.
floor. And I would sneak up to the 5th floor and I would knock on everybody's doors. My mom would make me do this because she would drop me off for my internship and she would pick me me up and she's like, did you go up to the 5th floor? Did you sneak up there? I'm like, I sure did. I sure did. Knocked on so many people's doors. I just introduced myself. I'm like, hey, I'm Shan. I work downstairs in radio. I'm an intern, but I would love the opportunity to do TV. So if you have any, openings, or if there's any like extra work, or if like you need an extra hand, like whatever, like I'm here, just know. And so every day I would just go knock on all these people's doors. One day I get an email, Rob Janolio, good old Rob Janolio. Shout out to that dude. He gave me my first TV show. He goes, who was that? Who was that little funny, cute girl that like keeps knocking on our doors? Because she would be perfect for this show that we're
That was
hosting.
like the
And
knockout show, right? What
it was
was
okay, so it was it was a puppet. It was for I would host in between Bob's Burgers and Family Guy, and during the commercial break, it was me and Bosco, this puppet, and so we would do skits on Friday nights, and
this
and
had to be before I was there even.
this is no, this was so long ago. This was probably like, yeah, at least 13 or 14 years ago. And so I would do this thing with this puppet. And it was on, I didn't care. Like I didn't care. And then I remember doing one of the girls that worked before me, she did like a 49er parody song. Cause sometimes in radio you have to do these like, silly songs. And she did it. And I remember her doing it. I was like, girl, I could do that hella better. But I was like, but I'm gonna let her shine. I'm gonna let her do her thing. And then she ended up leaving. And it was the next year, it was like 49er season. I was like, I could do a song. I could do a song. And they're like, okay, you want to do a song? Come bring your song. And I remember hitting my friend up who was a producer. I went into his closet and I recorded this 49ers song, and they played it on the morning show, and that song became the #1 requested song in all of the San Francisco Bay Area. It was in the San Francisco Chronicle
I
as
cannot.
like this 49er song that this girl did, and now it's a #1 requested song. Because I did that song, now CBS was coming out with a sports trivia show,
That's what I
and they're like,
remember.
who is that girl that did that silly 49er song? Because I even did a music video. I was like, oh, you love this music, like this song. Let me get my other homie to
I
shoot a music
cannot.
video. And that went like viral for back in the day. And so they're like, oh, who's that girl? Let's get her to host Gas Money. And that was Thursday nights after football on CBS. Girl, I didn't know shit about sports, but I was like, hell yes, sign me up. And I remember my co-host, No Name, he went first. It was me and him hosting this game show. And I remember being like, Lord, like I don't know what the hell. I don't know what am I doing here? I just have this microphone, I have this cue card, and I just remember studying him for like a minute before I had to go up. And there's a crowd of people in front of us, there's they're like, "Oh, this is a TV
Mhm.
show for CBS." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm like sweating." I'm like, "What am I going to do?" I just remember studying every single word. I'm like, "I'm just going to copy everything he says and see what comes out of my mouth. Like, I'm just going to try to replicate what he did." And I did it. And I just remember being like, and I had cue cards. I read the cue cards. I let my personality shine. That was my second TV show, but I didn't know nothing about sports. But like, it's the things that just put myself out there and introduce myself, and like, you never know what it can lead to, right? And guess what? Like, if I didn't sneak up to the 5th floor and go knock on those doors, I wouldn't have gotten all of those TV shows. And so it's just a crazy wild ride, and I honestly can't make it
I
up.
love that I didn't know any of this, okay? But to your point where you were saying that you snuck upstairs to the 5th floor, I remember being a production assistant with my little headphones, watching the anchors up there on the anchor desk, and I was doing their prompter. And I remember you coming in on the 5th floor to say hi to us. And I was like, okay, hi, I don't know who you are.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing there, but I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make myself
You
known." And
definitely knew, you looked like you knew what you were doing,
I
okay? I
I
was
don't
like, who is
I
this?
just felt like I think one of maybe my little superpowers is I love connecting with
Sure.
people. I love making friends. I just feel like maybe I was put on this planet to just we bring community together. And I think that's just what I love doing. And even though I was like, I want a job up here. And I remember going up there and going into the TV studio, that led me to getting the Friday evening entertainment correspondent for the KBCW news. And I was there every Friday night just reading a teleprompter of like what events were going to be on and going on in the Bay. And
Yeah.
it just it just leads to things, you know? So that's what I'm saying, like, always be kind, always be nice because they're gonna remember, like, "Okay, we need to fill this spot. Who would be good for that? Oh, that girl
Yeah.
that's, like, always saying she's wants to work here, so let's give her a gig." I think it goes a really long way when you just really connect with people's hearts and build connections and realizing that the entire world is all about who you know. That's what I'm learning, you know, because I didn't come from a makeup world, but I had to learn. I didn't know who any of these big makeup executives were or like people in the industry were. I had to learn. I had to like do research. I had to go like find out who they were and like stalk them at events and like become friends with them. And like tomorrow I'm going to LA and I'm like, oh my gosh, who am I gonna meet there? I'm so excited. Like I already like saw who was going to the event. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to this person and that person and just realizing this world is built on connections. You don't have to be the best at doing makeup. You don't have to be the best makeup. I'm still not even a makeup artist. But I like makeup and people just want to support. And if you keep coming out with quality stuff and if you're a joy to work with, people are going to want to keep coming back to you. It's super powerful building connections and relationships.
Let's talk about relationships because that's another thing that I know that navigating, whether it's the news world, the radio world, or even entrepreneurship, like you're building a brand, that is not easy to maintain. And now you're doing it as a mom of two. You are
Yeah.
married, finally. I
Yeah.
love that for you. But I do know that, in between all of this, as I would watch your social media, there were a couple of, relationships that you would kind of talk about and then they would end and then a new one would
Mhm.
come on board. It's hard. It's very hard to maintain relationships in this industry. It's hard to keep your independence and kind of want to have a career and motherhood. And I don't know if that was ever even something that you considered. I'm not sure.
Definitely dated people in the past that were insecure and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you talked about me?" Like because being in radio, you're a character, right? And like unfortunately, like sometimes we have to exaggerate because it's a show at the end of the day, you know? And sometimes feelings would get hurt. So it was hard, kind of navigating that, the dating scene too, because you kind of, you have to talk about like when things are good, when things are not good, like silly things, funny things. And there is a spotlight on you. And people do listen. And I think that sometimes when people, like my sister, she's like, don't talk about me on the radio. So I don't talk about her on the radio because she's just like, I'm so private. Like she has like a private profile. She doesn't do any TV shows. She doesn't do like, she's so behind the scenes. Like she's like, I'm the data analytical one. I will help run the business, but don't tag me in anything. Like I want to be private. And my husband is a little bit like that too, where he's like, babe, you do your thing, but like, I'm over here. I'm good. Like I will root for you, but I'm like, he's an introvert, I'm an extrovert, and I think that's why we also work because if we had
Hmm.
2 extroverts, they would be fighting for, like, the spotlight, I don't know, I don't know, but, like, we make it work, but also my husband now, he's known me and I've known him since I was 19 years old, so he's always known my career, my drive, my ambition, my goals and how much I don't take no for answers. And so I think that was also why we worked because he's known me for so long and I think he was also attracted to that. Like, oh no, she's gonna go out and she's gonna get what she wants. But yeah, definitely it has been tricky too with dealing with now our kids because we want to keep them off social media as well and be private, but I also like know that I need to be on social media for my business and to keep growing and relate to people. So it's a little bit of a catch 22. but we're navigating it. It's also hard when I have to travel for work. My mom used to help me a lot with my son when he was first born, but now 5 years later a lot could change. My mom is now getting old. She can't help me as much. So I had to get a nanny, and there's also a stigma like, "Oh, you have a nanny." And it's like, "No, it's okay to pay your village too." Because
Yeah.
I can't rely on my mom. She had glaucoma this year. She needs knee replacement. Like, she's not as a spring chicken as she was, 5 years ago. So dealing with that pride as well, because it took me a long time to accept that I needed to pay
Help.
somebody to help, because I'm not an octopus. I can't do everything. I can't do everything at once, and I can't be everywhere at once. And yeah, when I'm doing this, I can't pick up my kids from school. But that's okay. Like, mommy's there 98% of the time, but knowing that when I'm doing this, there are things that I'm not excelling in. Like, sometimes my pride does hurt. I'm like, "Oh, I couldn't pick them up from school," but I have to just do what I have to do, and know that it's okay to ask for help and pay for help sometimes too.
You have to kind of manage it, right? And so I grew up
Yep.
in a household where both my parents worked and both of them are immigrants, but I grew up in a household where my mom had her own business and she made a lot of sacrifices to be a businesswoman and to be a mom. And we also had a nanny. We also had tutors that would come in because there were just certain things she couldn't help us in, like the English barrier there. So we grew up with a lot of help, and it takes a village to one live, but it also takes a village to raise children.
Yeah.
And so I love hearing that. But I think more so, talk to me about kind of what is it like to juggle that, because like I said, I grew up watching my mom, and I know that
Yeah.
I was not always the best child because I would be like, I want my mom here more. And my dad was
Mhm.
the one who would be like, but she's sacrificing so we could have X, Y, and Z, And so
Yeah.
he was the one who would really like make sure that those conversations were had at home. What does it look like to be a busy working mom, a traveling mom, an entrepreneur, a badass boss bitch on radio, and a mom of two now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I really have to give it up to my husband, because for the first 3, 4, some, yeah, 5, 3, 4 years, we didn't make money. He was supporting us, and he was like, he was saying, "Hey, go after your dreams, do what you got to do. I'm happy to support us, and just go after what you need to do, babe. Like, I got you." And so he still is a lot of the main support system, and I'm here just trying to, like, juggle everything. But I want to say, first and foremost, there is no such thing as balance. Like, you have your good days, you have your shitty days. For me too, it's like, I'm not an organized person. Like, I have ADHD. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like so many to-do lists. I have to check things off. So for me, it is hard, but I'm learning, and it does get a little easier once the kids are older. But I needed to realize, like, you can't have everything at all at once. Like, you can have everything, but just not at the same time sometimes. Some things are not you're not going to have, and that's okay, because you're doing this. But my kids are my main priority. And I'm so blessed that I can work from home, and I get to do my radio show from home, but I also do need help, because when they're home, like, I can't work. It's hard balancing it, and there is challenges. When I was gone for almost 2 weeks for the foundation launch, I flew to Dallas, then flew to New York, and then from New York I decided to fly back for 1 day, just so I could see the kids, to fly back to Texas. And I remember my sister being like, "But why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just fly back to Texas and then just, like, finish the trip?" I'm like, "No, cuz it's important for me, and I
Right.
know my kids need me, and I need to be present, even if it's for 12 hours. Like, I'm going to be there,
Yeah.
because I know that the second leg of the trip is going to be 4 more days, and I'm not going to go 2 weeks without seeing my kids. It's sacrificing. It was more work for me to do that, but to me that's worth it. To see my kids. And I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, you get to travel. That's so cool. It's such a break." Like, no, like, you don't realize I have to figure out, like, the laundry, the lunches, the refrigerator. Like, do we have Mateo special milk? Do we have, like, the like, do I have to meal prep? I
Yeah.
have to make sure, like, like the ride situation, who's picking up, who's dropping off, like it's all a scientific equation, and it's harder for me to leave than if I could just stay here and just and work. When I leave, it's really has to be like worth it. Like, okay, what am I going to get out of it? Is this really, really worth it? Do I need to be there? Can we send somebody else from our team? Or do I physically have to be there? And also realizing it's okay to say no, because I think I'm so much of like, oh my gosh, there's so many like amazing opportunities and people want us to be everywhere and did it and all this. And I just had to be like, you know what? I have 2 kids, I'm never gonna get this time back with them,
Right.
these times are precious, Realizing that no is okay as well.
And no, I'm sure, is a hard word for us. First of all, it's a hard word for us in news, and it's a hard word for us in this industry to say and
Yeah.
to kind of accept, because there is that like FOMO of like, if I'm not at home, then I'm missing this event. But if I'm not home, then I'm missing kids. And again, it's like this, you can't be in 2 places at one time.
I feel mommy guilt all the time, like, I can't escape it, I can't, I really can't. Ugh, it sucks, but it's just part of life, and you really have to just say, "Okay, what what's more worth it right now? Do my kids need me? Are they good? Are they solid right now? Or can I go to this one event where maybe potentially I could meet somebody that could change my life?" And that's happened multiple times. And why I'm here, because again, it's like being at the right place at the right time, not being scared to introduce yourself and talk, and like that's how we've gotten a lot of the things too, because it's all about who you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a catch 22.
I want to circle back to this point that you made of everybody likes your life. You know, it looks so glamorous on social media. And I'm sure that there's a part of it that is glamorous, but there is a lot of this like stress that goes into that as well. And a lot of it that you don't share on social media. So how do you navigate what you do share and what you don't share?
Sometimes my husband's like, "Really, you had to share that? Like, you can't just cry. Like, why do you have to cry on Instagram? I don't get it. I don't get it." But I'm like, "No, to me, I want to show people that like, no, I'm a real person. Like, I have real things that set me off." Like the other day I posted on my Instagram because I had come back for those like maybe 24 hours, less than 24 hours. We went to go eat. We went to go eat with the kids. I ordered this like lingonberry crepe at the end, and I was going to have my dessert, but my daughter started acting up. So my husband was like, "We got to get out of here." So I was like, "Okay, let me package this to go." And I was like, "Oh my God, I just want to eat my crepe when they go to sleep, when they go to sleep." And then finally, when they went to sleep, I'm like, "Oh, I'm just exhausted. I'm going to eat the crepe in the morning. I'm going to eat it first thing." And then I go downstairs to eat my lingonberry crepe, and my freaking husband had eaten it. And that is just, I just had a crash out. Like that to me, I was like,
But
oh
I
my
feel like
God.
that's a valid crush.
It's a valid crash out, because you're just like, as a woman, as a mom, you're like, I'm doing so many things and I want to be there for my family and I want to I want to prioritize them, but I'm so tired. Like, and that's the one freaking thing I wanted. That's the one freaking thing I wanted. And so I went on Instagram and I said this story, and I was like crying because I was like, I'm just so tired. I've been gone for a week. I'm leaving again tomorrow for a week. And I know this is so stupid, but like, you guys, this just happened. And I don't think I've ever gotten so many DMs in my life where like, "Nah, girl, that deserved a crash out. Like, that's messed up. I'm there with you." Like, I like the fact that you posted that makes me love you more,
Right.
because you're so humble, you're so real. Like, thank you for showing that as well, So I just, when I feel like posting, and I feel like, okay, maybe this could help somebody else kind of going through the same silliness, but like it's so real too. I'll post it, but yeah, sometimes I mean, honestly, I probably cry at least once a week. Like, let's be real, I cry at least once a week, like, because it's a lot. It
Yeah.
is a lot to juggle and maintain, and I feel like I'm always rushing for everything. And I started another radio show too called the XYZ Show with Eric Zachary, and
That's a lot of work.
it's a lot, but I love it, and I don't think I would want it any other way, because I don't think I'm a person that could just be comfortable. I don't ever catch myself just sitting on my couch and relaxing. I don't. I'm like, what else could I be doing? What else could I be like? Who could I respond to? Oh my gosh, what's on my to-do list? How else could I prepare? What else could I do that's productive? So I don't know. Maybe it's also not healthy for me to just I can't relax a little bit, but also I love my life.
Yeah.
I feel blessed. I appreciate it, but it's hard, and unfortunately, it just comes with the territory, and we just got to make it work at the end of the day.
I think that's the difference though, Shan, between working for somebody and working for yourself, right? Like when you know what you can reach and what you've already accomplished, and you know that there's even more that you can accomplish, it's kind of hard to take a step back and be like, I'm just going to sit on my couch now.
Yes,
Because,
like I don't have work
yeah,
till tomorrow. I feel like as an entrepreneur, there's always work that you can do or like that you could be doing. So I completely agree with that as well. So, oh, it's hard. And it's a life that you're gonna want to have to like be obsessed with. Like if you're thinking of starting a company, if you're thinking of like, okay, I kind of want to start something, I don't know what it's gonna be. You need to like eat, breathe, sleep, be obsessed with it because you at the end of the day are gonna have to sell the hell out of it. And if you're like about it and you don't believe in it that much, it's never gonna work. Really hone in on what you're passionate about because you're gonna be your ultimate salesperson and you're either going to make it or break it. And you got to make sure that you're in love with it 100,000%.
Shan, for anybody who is making the jump out of news and into something new, what are your words of advice?
Don't overthink it. Just start it. Because if you're not embarrassed of your first launch, then you launch too late. We look back at our first packaging and we were like, "Oh damn. Oh, okay, that's cute. That was real cute." But hey, we started. We started and people supported. Like people shopped and you would be surprised like people don't really care too much about that. And if you overthink about it and you're thinking about making the jump, first of all, have a plan. Have a plan and be like, "Okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to go about it." Maybe line something up if you can, because taking just like the jump is really scary because sometimes like when I left radio, no one else was giving me a job at that point. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just going to get a job at next door," but like it didn't happen. So that's when I shifted on all my focus into, Shades by Shan, but it was so in its inception phase. So have a plan. Don't overthink. Like when you finally figure it out, if it's starting a company, if it's starting a product, the la cosa es empezar. You just got to start because I remember there was a little lull with Shades by Shan where it's like we got our business license, like we went to City Hall, we got our business license, and then we didn't do anything for like 3 months. And we're like, what are we doing? Like we have our business license, like let's
Yeah.
go. And so I think if you just stall, nothing's going to happen. So you just like keep taking steps forward, steps forward, steps forward. Know that mistakes will happen. They've happened many times with us, but it's how you put out the fires. Keep putting out those fires. We put out fires every week and just keep going because it's the people that get scared and get afraid that they're like, "Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I'm gonna like this is not that are never gonna make it."
Sure.
So even the biggest companies that I've heard that like the shit that has happened with us has happened with like multi big conglomerates. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so it's it's not just us." So that feels good to hear as well. Like you just have to just be willing to just keep chipping away at it every single day, even when you don't want to.
And I feel like that's just so normal, even for like the news industry, right? The news radio industry. I mean, think of just how many times we failed on air, right?
Oh my gosh,
On
yeah.
live, whether it was live TV
Oh
or
my
live
god.
airwaves.
Yeah.
And you still had to show up and you still had to keep going and you still had to do your job.
You're not gonna be perfect. People are not gonna love everything you have to say, or maybe you hurt somebody's feelings, but like, hey, that's life. You just have to keep going. You just don't take it personal. And I think when people just take things too to heart, that's kind of where like, oh, okay, maybe they're not built for entrepreneurship, and that's
Right.
okay. That is okay too. But if you're stuck in a situation where you're just not happy, get the fuck out. Honestly, like just get out. It's so it takes a toll on you, yourself, your body, your mind, your well-being, your health, your relationships. So sometimes when it is that toxic, like sometimes you just have to take the leap of faith and trust God or the universe to like have your back, because they're trying to tell you to get out for a reason.
Right.
You know, they want to redirect you into something else, but you have to let go of the toxicity and the, the
The bad stuff.
badness.
Bad
Yeah.
stuff. I think that is such wise words, Shan. Thank you so much for your time today.
You. I had so much fun. You keep going after your dreams
We're
too,
going.
Paulina. You are such a go-getter. I appreciate you. You inspire me. You are just such a hustler. I have so much respect for
Thank
you.
you.
So thank you for having me on your show. I am so honored, and hopefully we'll chat soon.
Absolutely. Well, Shan, thank you. And everyone, we'll see you again here next Thursday.
A special thanks to our Hive sponsors, Madrala Law Firm, TrueCore Wellness, and Metamorphosis. Need real-time guidance beyond the mic? Head over to our Patreon. There you'll find Madrala Law Firm, offering insider legal advice for journalists, creators, and entrepreneurs. And TrueCore Wellness, sharing mental health and body healing practices for the heart behind the hustle. Your support turns words into healing and stories into honey.